Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, Episode 6, The Black Tower. Now, unfortunately, this is the penultimate episode, which means we only have one more episode left coming up in a couple of days. But this was definitely a great one. I love this one, and it's a great episode leading up to this really epic finale, which has a lot of different things going into it. Like, Jonathan has to get his wife back. They have to possibly, I would assume, defeat the Raven King, although the destiny, the prophecy says that they're actually going to fail, which we knew from the beginning, which is why there was kind of the speculation, like, they have to team up in order to defeat the Raven King. Otherwise, them failing, I would have to assume, means that they would both be killed. So there's that. There's obviously Jonathan going against Mr. Norrell and just all the issues there, and Norrell kind of being the catalyst for all the issues that have happened, which he even admits himself in this episode, which I thought was amazing. And I'm just so excited. Even Steven has his destiny. We find out a lot about sort of the prophecy teller guy in this episode. I really don't know what to actually call him, but like sort of the hobo guy in a sense. But this was a great episode. Like, Jonathan, at the end of the last episode, finding out like maybe going crazy will allow him to see the fairy, and so he goes through, he helps this woman, she gets what she wants, which is to be a cat. She was totally insane. I mean, she just ate, I believe it was a bird, it may have been another rat, when the girl and her father went to help her, or went to see her at least, and she just eats a rat right in front of him, no big deal. But Jonathan helps her, she gets what she wants, which is to turn into a cat, and he gets to become a little bit insane, depending on how much of the potion he drinks, and it finally works. And I love that scene. Like, he was still like super crazy when he first saw the gentleman, but he sees him, and then it's like he snaps out of it for a second, and it's like, oh, okay, I got you here, this worked. And it kind of went exactly like I expected. Like, when it was all said and done, Jonathan, of course, was like super excited and happy, but as soon as he blew the candle out, the first thing I thought was the gentleman. I was like, he's gonna be so pissed off right now, and that's exactly what happened. He goes straight to Steven, and it's like, he summoned me. I can't believe he did this, talking about terms and crap. He was super pissed off, and I knew that was gonna be the case. But it was great to see that, where Jonathan, all this time, he's been working to get this fairy, and he got it, and he asked for what he wants. He wants his wife back, and it's been, I believe he said, a month and a half or so, or something like that. So, another big chunk of time has passed between this episode and the last episode. And also, he's in Venice. That's another really big thing. He's in a totally different country at this point. And it was just really cool. Like, it was just great to see him go through this struggle, everything he's been through, and the gentleman's super pissed off with him and stuff, but he's like, alright, you want riches, or you want power, this or that, like simple little things, no big deal. And then he finds out that he wants Arabella back, and it's like, oh, well, I can't do that. He comes up with some really great excuses, because I'm sure none of that crap matters. Even if he didn't actually have Arabella and she just naturally died, even if it had been months, I'm sure it could have been as simple as like, well, I could just, boom, bring her back and take her finger then, or take, whatever, and she'll be totally fine. But, he comes up with these good excuses and stuff, and then he kind of screws up after Jonathan mentions Lady Pole, and he's like, that was a totally different matter. And then, that, like, clicks for Jonathan, and it's like, okay, well, obviously, it was Norrell, so it's like, who was the last magician? And so he gets the finger, and he uses that, which I thought was really cool. He's like, tell me where you came from. And then he uses that to get to, I guess, I guess it is an alternate dimension. I've never really thought about what it would be classified as, but I guess an alternate dimension, or a different plane, I guess. So he gets teleported there. He sees Steven, he sees Lady Pole, and then he sees Arabella, who's under complete mind control, because I have to assume that she'd be fighting back, because it's not like with Steven or Lady Pole, where they fall asleep and that, they're kind of taken there every night. This is, Arabella 24/7 is there, trapped. So I wasn't surprised when he basically mind wiped her, and it's like, oh, she's just here to dance because I want her here. And it kind of makes me wonder about all those other people, which I never really thought about. And maybe that's what he did to them. He kind of liked these people or something, and he tricked their significant others, or maybe he tricked them, himself, and he stole all of them away, and they're trapped there just like Arabella is right now. But we get the scene, and he's super angry and just typical stuff. He hates Jonathan. He hates all magicians at this point. um, and then they have their confrontation, and he basically curses Jonathan with just a black tornado over him just all the time. It's almost like a rain cloud, but to the ultimate extreme, and it's just a full on tornado. It doesn't actually hurt anyone, but of course, if you don't know that, then it's a freaking tornado randomly in the middle of town. You're getting out of there. So of course, Venice is, clearing out. Everyone's freaking out and leaving and stuff. He gets cursed. He now has to basically deal with what he's learned and deal with his madness now, because he's gone. He's insane at this point. So he's gone mad. He has a little bit of control, but he's still crazy, and he still has the rage and the anger, and he still has to fight back against the gentleman. I don't think that's his plan just yet, because he's trying to figure everything out and help Lady Pole out, and then go after Mr. Norrell. So I'm sure that'll come up in the finale, but at this point, at the end of the episode, he's just like, help Lady Pole, get her, her finger, tell Childermass everything I just told you. He wrote a letter. I don't know what's going to be on that letter. Maybe it's, it couldn't be questions, because obviously it's a letter, so it's not like it's going to instantly get back to him. So I have to assume it's direct. He said it's directions, but I don't know what they could possibly be. If it's for her to do something else, or to maybe find Steven or something, and he figured something out that they just didn't show yet, because they're saving it for the finale. But that was really cool, and him being insane and being angry at the end of the episode and going after Norrell and stuff like that. I'm incredibly excited for it. Of course, the trailer sort of showed it. They do end up running into each other. I don't know how long the feud is really going to last in the finale, because they do have to go against the Raven King. And I'm incredibly excited for that. Who knows if we're going to get an actual personification of the Raven King. They might do it, because they did have the painting, I believe it was 2 episodes ago, I want to say. Or 2, it may have been 3 episodes ago. So they have an actual painting of the Raven King, and they had the gentleman in the background. So odds are they chose the actors, beforehand, and then they made that painting of the actors. So we might actually get to see the Raven King, with the long hair. I believe he had long hair. So we might actually see a physical personification of him in the finale. And it might be longer. It might end up being like 2 hours instead of just the hour 15. So we might actually get to see a lot of stuff kind of packed into one, and it won't just be the hour 15. But either way, I think it'll have a good amount of content, because it seems like they hardly do commercials for this, since it's a miniseries anyway. It seems like they do very limited commercials compared to most other things. Although I don't watch BBC America, all shows could be like that. I don't really know. One other really huge thing that we did learn, though, was about like the hobo guy, and finding out that the reason he knows so much, and he has all these prophecies, and he told Norrell and told Strange, like, this is what you guys are going to be doing, and he told Steven, this is your destiny, and this is what the prophecy says about you. And even the gentleman has his own prophecy, and it's supposed to be really, really bad. So the reason he knows all this is because he is the book of the Raven King, because his father got super drunk and ate the book on a dare, basically. And so he was born with the Raven King's book on his skin. And I thought that was a really cool concept. And I love getting to see him and Steven together, because, it gave Steven a new look. And also that was how we got all that information. Like, how does he know all this stuff about the prophecies and things like that? Is because he is the book of the Raven King in a physical form. So he has all the writings. He even had like actual pictures, basically. Like, if there were pictures in the book, he had like symbols and stuff kind of on his body too. So there was a lot of info on his body. Like, there's stuff there. And apparently he's very difficult to kill. So I'm sure he's actually not dead at all. He's almost like a superhero who can die, but they just heal and come back to life. So I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll just boom, drop out of the tree and be like, well, that hurt, and he'll just keep on keeping on. So we'll see how that turns out for him in the next episode. He said he mentioned that he doesn't know his prophecy. He just mentioned that it's better than yours. So he knows that the gentleman is going to be defeated and killed. He might be defeated or even killed off by the Raven King, because he's doing things that the Raven King might not approve of or something. Like, who knows? I don't really know, because I haven't read the books, but I'm definitely excited for that. I thought it was a really great reveal. for the character where it's like he's, the Book of the Raven King, and it made sense. It, explained how come he knows all this information and stuff like that. So I love that scene. I thought it was really well done. Um, the scene with Jonathan talking to um, Christopher, I forgot his last name, but he gets a really big role in this episode too, where they let him out of prison and stuff, and he same personality where he like moves his hands, he's like the same mannerisms, which I thought was really funny. When he tells him though about how everyone is a magician, like everyone that wants to learn or wants to be Norrell's pupil is a magician, everyone that was on in like sort of the guild of magicians in the very first episode, they all count as magicians and stuff like that. I thought that was really nice because we got to see these people clearly do magical stuff. Like Childermass full on did spells. Like we saw him do spells. I can never remember the two guys' names, but the younger guy, when he mentions the fact that he can see the roses in Stephen and Lady Pole's mouth, is like, well, he obviously has a very serious connection to magic. So I love that they officially said that they actually had, one of the magicians. Of course, it would never be Norrell, but at least they actually had Jonathan say it, and I thought that was cool. It was a nice nod to the fact that although the prophecy states two magicians, they're just like the first two when you really think about it. Like other people have to learn and really become more powerful. Like Childermass knows spells, but he's not as powerful as Jonathan or Norrell. So I really love that recognition of all these other people that count as magicians. Even people that just simply want to learn magic do technically count, because that's exactly what Norrell was. He was just someone who wanted to learn magic, and he did learn it um, from just books. He just read books and boom, I know magic now. And I don't know if, because they don't really explain it in the show, and I'm sure they do in the books, but I don't know if anyone can learn magic. I'm not sure if that's the case, or you do have to have a kinship to it, and it's like some people can learn it, some people can't. They didn't really get into all that, but the way Jonathan explains it, it seems like anyone can, as long as they have the desire to learn it, and you can just pick it up. It might take a lot of time, like with Norrell, but you can learn magic. So I did love that recognition. The ravens coming in at the end of the episode, like breaking through the window, I thought was pretty cool. They mentioned that all the doors to the magical world are shut right now, and Jonathan is the one who wants to open them all up and restore, magic. He wants to restore magic in his own way and give it to the world and give it to the people that want to learn it. So I thought that was really cool to hear him say that as well. Don't know how that's going to play out with him being crazy, as well as the Raven King, as well as the Gentleman, and all the other craziness that's supposed to happen in the finale. But I'm still really excited for that. The Gentleman currently is also very, very weak because of the attack that he did, the curse that he put on Jonathan. So I'm not sure if he's going to be up to actually fighting when Jonathan is able to get back. I'm assuming he's going to be able to, or like I said, the Raven King might come back and be like, I disapprove of what you've done, and boom, snap his fingers and he's dead. But he's really, really weak right now, and I thought he was going to die in this episode. But he's very, very weak, so if Jonathan is able to get back to him, he's going to be taken down. He's going to be killed, and I have to assume that not just Arabella, but all those other people, if they are under sort of the same spell, they'll all be set free and kind of put back into the normal realm. So I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that they have to put into this finale, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'm really, really excited for it. I definitely love this episode for sure. It's a great one leading up to the finale. Jonathan going insane was really cool, and him getting to meet the Gentleman and seeing the reactions. I think we all expected, like, he was super happy, and then he was crushed. I thought it was a really well done scene, even though it was really short, because it was like right after he asked for the finger, Lady Pole's finger. So I thought that was really nice too, where he was like broken down, like all this time he'd been trying to get Arabella back, and he thought he finally had it, and then it was just taken away from him for real. And then he was able to find out that there's still hope to actually get her back. So that was really cool. They even gave him a change in hairstyle. He like made him look really crazy. His clothing was very different too. He had like the I have no idea what that's called, but like the little ruffle thing that goes around, almost like a scarf, but it goes all the way down. He kind of looked like Childermass a little bit with the hairstyle that way, and it was like Because he's always had short hair, but normally it's like up, I guess. I don't really know. I guess it's a hard. I'm horrible at explaining hair, but it was very different, and it made him just look even crazier. So I did love that as well. But it was a great episode leading up to the finale. I'm really excited for it. I don't know 100% what to expect, but if we have the Raven King coming in, Jonathan and Norrell are gonna have to team up. So there's just a lot to happen in this next episode. I'm really excited for it, of course. I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please, excuse me, comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And, of course, with the finale coming up in, I believe, just a couple days, I definitely want to know what predictions you guys have. I guess for people who have read the books, it's a little bit easy to have predictions. But if you haven't read the books, or even if you have, because obviously the TV show is going to change certain things, or at least kind of just smash a lot of stuff together to keep it going for 7 episodes to put it all in there. I definitely want to know what predictions you guys have for the finale, and definitely like I said, your favorite parts from this episode. But what do you guys think about Jonathan kind of being insane? Because that was obviously like the big thing for this episode, him making himself go crazy. He accomplished that and got some really bad news, so I think it just made him going crazy, almost evil crazy a little bit. In a sense, he did have a moment in this episode where, I guess in general, they had a moment where it was like he is almost at the point where I feel like Norrell has been, not the entire series, but most of the series, where Norrell has kind of been the villain, and he definitely did that. And I totally skipped over this, but in the beginning, when he stole and destroyed every copy of Jonathan's book, for one, I thought that was just insane. Like I was surprised he did that. But I love the visuals that they did for that, where the books would like disappear in a cloud of smoke and they were just vanishing and stuff. I love that. I thought that was really cool. I thought that just looked really good. Oh, no, I can't get my remote. Oh. I thought it looked really good, and that was a pretty nice scene. But they definitely had a moment with Jonathan after he got like the really bad news and stuff. It's like he's not only made himself go a little crazy, but now he's also gotten really bad news, and he's had sort of I can't call it a battle, but he had his confrontation with the gentleman. So it was like a really small moment, and it was like him being that angry and also crazy sort of made him seem like the villain for like a sliver in this episode. And they also countered that with Mr. Norrell actually admitting when he saw what was happening in Venice. It also gave him like an actual human moment where it was like, oh, he admitted that he did something wrong. So that was like the one time in this episode where it was like, for a split second, I was like, Jonathan almost seems like the bad guy. And also, kind of the ending with, like I said, he's going so insane and he's also really mad. It kind of just, makes you seem sort of like a villain. But I thought that was really well done for like such a tiny little moment. And I have to do this real quick and bring this in. There it is. Got it. So I did love that moment. Like I said, love the episode, of course. I want to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.